Oh, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good golly, Miss Molly. Welcome to that 70s Rock Fan channel with me, Brian, and my review of Shogun Episode 4, entitled The Eightfold Fence, which is a concept that Mariko introduces Blackthorne to in this episode, and is part of his learning and her teaching him of Japanese philosophy, in particular how to endure and survive the many perils of Japanese life in that era. And as usual, of course, there will be spoilers going forward. Some mild spoilers. I try not to give too much away, but please be aware that there will be some uh, in this review of episode 4. And the show continues to be excellent. Yet again, the attention to detail and the faithfulness to the original source novel is fantastic. I mean, we have to give a lot of plaudits to the writers, to the production staff, set designers, costume, and of all those people, I mean, the producers have done a fantastic job so far. But Hiroyuki Sanada, obviously playing Toranaga, is a producer, and he has stated very clearly that the show must be authentic, which is why it's so good. And its faithfulness to the novel, except when, for genuine um, scripting and screenplay reasons, because it's being adapted, things have to be changed. Nothing wrong with that. Changes are not being egregious, in my opinion. Just my opinion, of course. Anyway, episode 4 roughly covers chapters 30 to 33 in the novel, book 3 of the novel, that section of it. A little bit less edge of the seat action than the previous episode, the escape from Osaka. The action has now moved back to Anjiro in Yoshii's fiefdom, the village controlled by his nephew Omi, his samurai vassal and nephew, and he and his consort, the consort Kiku, play a larger part in this episode as a result, as does Toranaga's son Naga. Let me call up some images while we're talking. So always nice to take a look at stuff so you can see a little bit of what it looks like. So, as I say, expanded roles in this episode for Omi, who's a very smart guy, is Yoshii's principal advisor, as his nephew. Extremely smart. He is, and obviously he and Kiku, the consort, are very much a thing. Also, as I said, expanded role for Toranaga's loyal but impulsive son, Naga. Now, the action moving back to Anjiro, they arrive. Toranaga then unexpectedly departs for his home base of Edo, leaving the engine, Mariko, and the others behind. Blackthorne has been made Hatamoto by Toranaga, special advisor, samurai class. He's been granted a house in the village, as you can see here. He's been given an income and a household, and critically, a consort to run his affairs, which is Fujika, who was widowed in episode 1. She's appointed very much against her wishes, of course, by Toranaga, but unwillingly. But once a deal has been struck with Toranaga, she fulfills her duties to him and to the engine to the letter, as she is a good samurai, and she fulfills that task, the task given to her unflinchingly, which is to run the engine's household, to protect him, to help, along with Mariko, teach him the ways of Japan. There's a particularly fantastic sequence involving her, Omi, and Blackthorne, where it's all about Blackthorne's pistols and whether or not Omi likes him having them in the first place. She really proves her bravery and steadfastness in this sequence. It's a fantastic sequence, taken very much from the novel. And a lot of respect is gained between her and Blackthorne as a result, because he didn't understand the concept of a consort or the household. But the respect is gained such that even she gives him her family samurai swords to carry, because no samurai should walk around without swords. So there's a lot of respect growing between the two of them. She's a wonderful character. And also, of course, Marika is left in Anjiro with the Anjin to continue on Toranaga's behalf, to mentor him, to teach him, to record everything, and to teach him more about Japan and the Japanese language and Japanese ways. And his knowledge of these things continues to grow, unlike the rocks in his garden, which you'll have to watch the show to understand that reference. But their relationship deepens. Don't want to say too much more than that. The relationship is really beginning to deepen, and he's learning a lot. He's frustrated by the fact he can't just go out to his ship, go get his men and do stuff. But that's the trade-off for his life and his position that Toranaga has given him. He has to teach. He has been given a task, that is to teach Yabu and Omi and their men Western military tactics using the guns and cannon from his ship. And there is some departure here in this section of the story, in that it focuses more in the show than in the novel on the use of cannon and the cannons from his ship, because Blackthorne keeps quite rightly saying, well, I'm a naval guy. I'm not so great at teaching regiments how to use muskets and those tactics. He can do some of that, but and in the novel there is more focus on that. Here they focus very much on the cannons, which I think is a logical choice given the compression of many events in order to fit a very detailed novel into 10 episodes. It also makes for some interesting visuals, and there's an impactful climax to the show regarding the cannons, and some of Ishido's men, Josen particularly, have arrived unexpectedly. First of all, looking for Toranaga. Secondly, to try and serve Yoshii with some papers from Ishido, which, because Ishido sees it, because Yoshi's playing both sides, and Ishido sees him as betraying him, given Toranaga's escape. He sidesteps those papers relatively well. Ishido's men settle down to observe what's going on here with the cannons, and there's a pretty interesting ending to the episode, shall we say. Nagu decides to take actions on his own behalf without referring to his father. So don't want to give too much of the details that away, because I would urge you to watch it. It's a very, very interesting episode. There is, again, the attention to detail is great. I very much enjoyed it. It expands the story greatly. It develops the characters, many of the characters, much more. So it's much more of a character development episode. You see Omi and his smartness and his values and advisor. Yoshii again trying to play all sides. Blackthorne growing as a character, becoming more involved in the Japan he's living in and understanding its ways, speaking the language, eating the food, which is interesting too, and so on. Again, don't want to give too much away. And his relationship with the wonderful Mariko is just is extremely well portrayed, given the limited time they have on screen in order to develop what is a very detailed relationship. So there's a lot of interesting stuff in this episode. Thoroughly enjoyable. Once again, they've done a fantastic job, are doing a fantastic job. Please watch this episode, The Eightfold Fence, on FX and Hulu. and I look forward thoroughly to episode 5 next week. So thank you for watching. Appreciate it very much. Check out the other reviews of the other episodes I've done. We will do all 10, and then we'll do a wrap up at the end, possibly in a live stream. So far, so good. So if you've enjoyed this episode, please do all those things that they say to do on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for your support of the channel. Very much appreciate it. And until next time, stay well and keep on rocking.